Hey friends, Sam Haymart for Test Driven TV. Today we're out here on a little bit of a breezy winter day in Arizona looking at the 2014 Mitsubishi Outlander. Now the Outlander is actually an outlier in the three-row SUV field, and this is because it's slightly smaller than most of its competitors, some of which we can say the Toyota Highlander, the Kia Sorento. It's sort of a mid-size SUV crossover. Now the reason it's a little bit smaller is it's a true Japan domestic market product, and this is to say it's not designed specifically for America. It's the same vehicle they sell in Japan and other countries around the world. For 2014, it got an all-new redesign inside and out, but it uses the same platform architecture, the same engine and transmission as before. The good news is, however, it shed 200 pounds in this redesign, so that should net better fuel economy and better acceleration.
When Mitsubishi redesigned their largest crossover SUV, they took a more conservative route in design, toning down the more aggressive and angular lines of the previous model. The shapes are more rounded and subdued, except for a technically robotic-looking grille treatment. Overall, the style seems to me a bit dated already. If this vehicle had been introduced in 1999, I don't think it would have been that far out of place. There are super wide HID headlamps and tastefully designed wheels to spice up the look, however. The interior of our GT trim grade came with the top-end $6,100 GT Touring package, which included leather seats, the Rockford Fosgate audio system with navigation, power sunroof, and power liftgate. The driver's seat is powered, but the passenger side isn't, surprising at this price. The Rockford Fosgate audio system sounds great and really kicks the bass with the rear subwoofer. The steering wheel has magnesium paddle shifters, which are a nice touch, better than the plastic ones found in even more expensive vehicles. Also included in this expensive package was radar cruise control and driver assistance features like forward collision mitigation and lane departure warning. We'll get to those in a few minutes.
Because the Outlander is slightly smaller than some of its competitors, this interior does read a little bit more snug. From behind the wheel, when you sit here looking over the hood, it reads a lot more like a car than an SUV. You feel like you're sitting down in it rather than on top of it. Now, as far as this interior is concerned, Mitsubishi's made no ovations to do something really bold and artistic. This is very middle-of-the-road, safe design. The good news is, I think it comes off pretty well. It's tastefully done, it's simple, all of this is very easy to use. The material qualities, as you run your hand around the interior, the switchgear, it's all very well done. Another thing that I like is when I sit here, the armrests are level with each other, and they're actually a good height for me at least, as I'm sitting here driving down the road. Now, style-wise, I'm an old-school leather and wood guy. If a car has leather, it's got to have wood. And so this one's pushing my buttons from a stylistic standpoint. And even though this wood is fake wood, it's very well done. So this interior gets a thumbs up. The back seat's got plenty of room back here. The leg room is actually very good for an SUV this size, and best of all, this seat is actually up high enough that you have a pretty normal seating position. You don't have your legs up like you do in some crossovers. Now that third row seat back there, that's really for kids. There's very little leg room, and those headrests, they're right up against the back window too.
The third row seat is indeed more a marketing device than a long-term solution for large families. It does fold flat, however, and allows for a generous cargo area when stowed. A console-mounted switch controls the settings for the S all-wheel drive control system, which defaults to all-wheel drive at startup. When the Outlander is set to Eco mode, the system is set to front-wheel drive only to save fuel, but can automatically activate when needed. Under the hood is a slightly retuned version of the venerable 3-liter Myvec V6 engine, which produces 224 horsepower and made it up to a 6-speed automatic transmission. It has a good deal less power than most of its competitors, but the Outlander weighs 200 to 500 pounds less than they do. In driving, the engine provides adequate power and for 2014 has greater fuel efficiency than before. It's rated at 20 miles per gallon city and 28 miles per gallon highway, up from 25 miles per gallon highway in 2013. In our week with the Outlander, we achieved 23 miles per gallon combined, which is exactly what the window sticker promises.
One thing the Outlander actually does very well is provide a nice solid ride. This chassis, even though it's been around for a while, offers tight steering. Because of its size, it's very nimble to drive and to park, and it's actually very comfortable for long drives.
The handling, of course, is aided by a fully independent suspension with McPherson struts up front and a multi-link design at the rear. Steering is electronically assisted for 2014 with no significant loss in feel over the 2013 model.
So this vehicle has a couple of features that are part of the GT touring package that are driver assistance features. And one of them is lane departure warning, and the other one is forward collision mitigation. Now, the forward collision mitigation feature is one that if you are coming up on an object, be it a car or a pedestrian, and you're not showing any signs of interacting with your car, like, oh, I don't know, stopping or slowing down, the computer will put the brakes on for you and either stop you or slow you down before the point of impact and hopefully help you avoid that crash. The other system it has is lane departure warning. It uses cameras to watch the lines in front of you, and if it detects you veering out of your lane, it'll beep. And it kind of works like this. If I'm veering out of my lane like I'm asleep at the wheel, it beeps. Now this is a system that a lot of cars are starting to get now, and when I test drive cars, I usually turn these systems on, I give them a test, and then I turn them off and drive happily ever after. But this car, it's not like that. This car, when you turn the key on, these systems are default set to be on. If they bug you, like that, you have to turn them off every single time you get in the car. There's no way to set them to just never be on. It's one thing when they're there and you can, manually make the choice to say, I'm going to be asleep at the wheel and turn it on, which is silly anyway. But the fact that this is on all the time and you have to turn it off to where it scares the living daylights out of you if you're not expecting it, I've got a big problem with that. Well, as you can see, the 2014 Outlander actually offers up something a little bit different in its field. It's just slightly smaller than many of its Americanized competitors, which for some folks can be a good thing if you're looking for something that's a little bit more nimble and easier to park in tight spaces. The one area where it really let me down were those driver assistance features that have to be turned off every single time you get in the car. That really bugged me, as you can tell. Obviously, if you love those features, you're good, but for me, that makes this a 3.5-star car for the week. I'm Sam Haymart for Test Driven TV. I hope you enjoyed the ride.
If you'd like a more detailed review and photo galleries, log on to activityvehicle.com.